Hey, Ryan Thompson of the applications team here at Rottler Manufacturing. I'm here with our honing product expert, Scott Rowe. How are we doing, Scott?
We're doing good.
And we got a brand new product here at Rottler, which is our lifter honing kit. There's going to be two kits here, and today we're going to walk you through the assembly and how we use it here on our H85 series honing machines. There's going to be two different kits that are available. The first one is our 555 14-87. That is for brand new machines, so if you're in the market for a new CNC hone, you're going to want to ask about that. If you have a machine, one of our H85A or AX series machines, and you've purchased it prior to June 12th of 2024, you're going to want to ask about the 555-14-88 kit. That's a retrofit kit. It comes with the same mandrel and adapter as the 87 kit, but it will include a drill template that will allow you to modify your rollover fixture that is often found in our hones, and that'll let you be able to hit the different lifter angles. What we've done is our fixtures have been modified, and it comes with a template so you can drill yours if you're doing the retrofit. All new fixtures will come with the holes already pre-drilled, and there's a guide with a series of holes that you put a trailer pin basically in, and that lets you hit 35, 59, 48, 38, 38 and 3/4, and 41 degree angles for the various common applications in domestic V8s. Anything else you want to add to that?
No, just that kit, the retrofit kit also comes with a new handle, and that's the main difference. You got to drill the extra holes for the template, but also it has the extra handle.
Yeah, that's a great point. In terms of what we've got here, we've got a 4-stone hone head here that within the kit, this is the 514 9L, comes with two different sets of stones in the kit. They are the same grit. It's 500 grit stone. The range on this for diameters is 0.827 to 1.062, 21 to 26.95 millimeters if you're in metric. And the stones are labeled, and that allows us to hit that full range. So we'll go ahead and bring the camera in here, and we're going to take a look. There's some assembly. The first thing you're going to want to do with this is take our 514 9V and 514 9L, and we're going to need to put those together for the hone head itself.
That's exactly right. All right, so we have our 9V here, and it has a homing plug that's designed, if you're using it with the Sun and Mandrel, you'll need to have this adapter here. We're not going to use that with our 514-911 Mandrel drive, so we're going to go ahead, I'm just going to take this set screw all the way out, and we're going to go ahead and remove this plug. Now if you look inside here, we have a hook, and basically what we need to try to do is we're going to take our Mandrel drive here, and we're going to try to attach that hook in there. So you're going to start off at a 90-degree rotation. You're going to slide it in, and then you're going to rotate to right there. And then we need to rotate this counterclockwise. You guys can see this sucking in a little bit because we got the hook correctly. And right there it stops. So we're ready to go ahead and put the set screw in and hold it there in that position. And now we have assembled these two together. The next thing we need to do, just give that a little snug with this 1/4-inch Allen. And now we have our diamonds. This is the smaller of the two sets. So we got 4 diamonds. They're labeled just like our other diamonds are, the number, and there's laser engraving here on the Mandrel drive. But so these are going to go from 827 to 945. It says right on the stone there, the range. Hopefully you guys will be able to see that. And so this is number 1. We've already preloaded 1 rubber band on here, 1 O-ring. We're going to go ahead and drop that on there, and you're going to put these in. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, no, that's the right direction. And you got to make sure your ramps, that's the only thing you're looking at, is your ramps are going the right direction. So ramp go in there for that cone rod. And we're going to go ahead and drop these guys in. That's 3 to 3 and 4 to 4. They got to go in evenly. All right, so now I can go ahead and roll this O-ring down, and I'm going to go ahead and attach the other O-ring back to the bottom of these hooks, And these are basically taking a place of the springs that you guys are all used to seeing on our holders, and it's going to be what's responsible for retracting the diamonds in. And so that is your completed assembly. And now we're ready to go ahead and we're going to attach this in that you guys are used to seeing, this adapter, into the hone.
So once you've got this thing assembled, you want to make sure, as Scott was saying, you want to draw this all the way back up, and you should make sure that you've only got maybe 50 or 60 thousandths of protrusion of the base of 514 9L here. And you do that by just running this guy down until it bottoms out, right? And then you can back it off a little bit, just to make sure it's easy to get in your machine. So from there, we're ready to load this up, and this is going to be a specific mandrel type that we use inside the honing software. Once we get this loaded, your kit is going to come with 2 plastic homing sleeves, and they are labeled for a .947 and a 1065. And you're going to use the homing sleeve that corresponds with the set of diamonds you're using, because that's going to give it its final max location, basically, right?
Exactly.
So our first step is to get this guy in here and get this homed when we first put it in. And we're here at the machine now, and we're going to get this guy loaded, and Scott's going to walk me through. So hopefully in your capable hands.
No problem at all.
Walk us through.
We're going to go ahead and take this, which we just put together, the mandrel drive and the mandrel adapter, and we're going to clock it in there. And then we have this here homing sleeve, and this is for the smaller set of diamonds, and it tells you right there. And we're going to go ahead and we're just going to place that right up over the diamonds, and we're going to hit home.
Okay, so I just hop in here?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So we've got an SBC. I got to add a mode, right?
First you got to home.
Home first. Oh,
Yep.
Okay.
First home.
So right here.
And this takes a second, but it's basically expanding the stones out till it touches that sleeve.
Yeah,
there you go.
And it says homing complete, so I'll hit OK.
And now we're gonna create
okay. And so if I come up here into new,
you have lifter
and
hone
we've got
option.
a lifter hone option, so I'll select that.
And go ahead and double click that to enter. And then the first thing it says here on the screen is hone head not selected, just like it would with our other programs. It's very, very important that we do not enter a program and try to hand wheel these stones anywhere in any form right now, because it does not know that we have selected the correct hone head yet. So go ahead and hit OK. And now we're gonna go to where the red arrow is, and we're gonna select the right mandrel.
So we've got large hone head, extra large. Those are our standards for cylinder honing. And I want mandrel K.
Yep, mandrel K.
Okay.
And so now we've selected the correct mandrel. Now we can go ahead and retract those stones.
So if I go hand wheel on stones,
and we can take our sleeve back.
Turn this counterclockwise, and it should retract back in.
There we go.
And if I go back out, this is set to the limit.
Yep, it's all set. So now...
Yeah, so it can't go past 0 here.
Exactly. Okay. We have our travel limits set. We can't hurt anything. We can go as far in or as far out as we want, and nothing's going to jam or bind.
There it is. Okay, I got that.
All right. So the next thing, this program looks very similar to any of our other honing programs. You'll see we've deleted out a few things we're not using. We're not using plateau, for instance. But basically the main difference is we have a centering height here. And we'll go ahead and we're going to walk you guys through how to go ahead. We're going to set our X and our Y and our Z zeros exactly the same as if we're honing a regular bore. So
just, like any of our Rottler equipment, right? I'm assuming I'll just pick, could be left or right.
It could be, yep.
So I'm just going to jog this over and eyeball dead center of the hole?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to need my lifter angle on this block isn't at a 45, right? And that's where we've got our plaque up here for our diagram. So if I take this pin, right, which we talked about in the intro, and we've got our array of holes, which is a diagram for what's down here.
Yep.
And for small block, I want to be on 41
degree.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if I grab this, because it's currently in the cylinder bore mode, and I'm just going to stick this in here. That goes in pretty easy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So hopefully the door
So
didn't just block that, but he just went ahead and he dropped that into the hole 41 for 41 degrees on a small block Chevy lifter bore angle.
And that gets me to where I can come and finish setting up on this.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm just gonna jog down. And I know I always give these a little shake. Now we're working on a AXY machine, right? So we've got the Y axis, so obviously I gotta do all this with my...
And if you didn't have the Y axis, you'd just be pushing the tower in and out.
Right. Okay, I think that looks about center to me, Scott. What do you think? Close enough?
Yep, no, that looks great.
Okay, so zero out X and Y?
0X and Y, we can't do our Z till we get all the way down to the hole where the diamonds are flush with the top of the hole, right?
Okay,
Just
so
like when we're doing a regular
I'm gonna
bore.
make sure my stones are all the way in here, and then you want me to go all the way?
Go all the way down to where the stone's flush with the top of the deck.
So I've got the top of the stones
Right there.
flush with top of the deck.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, now we can do zero your Z. And then the next thing we're going to look at was the one line item that I said is different from our other programs, which is centering height, and we're going to work our way back up right here.
Okay. So basically just bottom to
Step by
top
step.
for
Yep,
my
bottom to top,
programming.
exactly.
Okay. So if that's zero, so all these numbers, if I press set, will be based
Off of that zero, exactly.
So
So centering height, we want to be roughly about 1/4 inch above the hole. That's
like-
fine right
something like
there. Because that's where, when we're in our auto cycle, where it's going to come pause to make sure we can hand wheel down and make it into the hole.
And then block clearance is just going
Above the deck
above
of the
the deck
block,
would be a
just
good,
like,
this is for the linear move. Hole to hole.
The linear moves, just like on our regular block program, we have block clearance and rollover clearance, same thing.
Okay. And then roll over, I
Yep.
just need something up above that.
Yep.
Good, okay.
So the next thing is the cylinder diameter.
Okay. And we're what I know you measured, we're at what, 860?
Yeah, right around there. 860 is totally fine. And then all the instructions are telling us that with all our testing and everything we've done, the spindle likes best being ran in 300 RPM roughing and finishing in this case.
Okay.
And
So just
we'll-
type in 300.
Yep, 300. And then I've been putting the crosshatch angle at 20. So,
And obviously variable as you play with it,
Yeah,
whatever
yep.
you would want.
exactly.
Be hard to fit a
As
crosshatch
far-
camera down in there.
Oh yeah, you're not gonna be able to get one down in there. But as far as our roughing and our finishing loads go, what we found during our testing is because this is such a small mandrel compared to what we're normally using, our spindle loads should be somewhere between 10 and 20%. You're never going to really see 20%, so we'll say 10 to 15% load is really what you want to run on roughing and finishing. So the last program we were running, we were doing 15, so you can do 15
so put
and
15 in both?
Yep.
Okay.
And sensitivity, most programs will run around 4 or 5. Keep it somewhere right around there.
So just give that 4 on the
Yep.
sensitivity.
And then this next part is the only other thing that's a little bit tricky. So we need to know the stone length, which we measured, and we called it 235. And then our workpiece length. This is where things get interesting because the cylinder length of this of the lifter bore is only 1.75. We just grabbed that with a rough tape measurement estimate. You can do it however you need to get that measurement. But one thing I want to point out real quick is when we make this 0 on your upper and your lower overstroke, this is the only thing that you guys need to understand that's operating differently is because our stone length is longer than the length of our hole, it's automatically taking the difference, the 600 difference between this number and this number, and it's halving it down the middle, and it's giving you 300 out the top and 300 out the bottom. And so whatever we want to do more than that, we'll go ahead and put in our upper overstroke, but it's very important you guys understand what this what the upper and lower stroke numbers are down below there.
So this is just and so I've got it. It's just telling me here that this is going to pull 300 thousandths out of the hole. Mm-hmm. I guess from the top, from 0.
Yep, from 0
and
to
then
diamond.
it'll poke the bottom of the diamond 300 thousandths below right now.
Exactly.
And then if I wanted to go another 1/8 inch
Yep, you
on
can do
upper,
that.
now it's going
Yep.
425 out, or whatever I would be doing.
Uh-huh. That's exactly right.
So it's just adding an increment for more, and you would use that if you're having.
And so as we're honing in regular honing 101 principles, is if it's tight at the top and you see the machine short stroking the top, that tells us we need to come further out the top or further out the bottom if it's short stroking the bottom. We cannot exceed half the distance of the stones in regular honing, and we can't do it when we're honing lifter bores either. So half the distance, you can't have more than, say, 1 1/8 out the bottom on your upper or out your lower overstroke area there.
Yeah, because you just get too much stone. Now, we're using, obviously, stones that are longer than the bore.
Yep.
And typically that would lead, you would always use, like on a cylinder bore or anything, the thing is use stones that are shorter, so this is a little different.
That's where it varies.
This is more like conventional rod honing or something.
Yep, exactly.
So I guess the question is, taper on the stones, probably something that needs
we're
to be
gonna have
managed.
to watch more and manage a little bit more. We did true our diamonds in previously. We used a 6-inch sleeve, which was great. That won't be something everybody have the ability to do.
Could you also true on a junk block?
You can true on a junk block, but you're probably gonna want to mic your diamonds from time to time, because you're not gonna you're running up and down. Your diamonds are coming over and lapping each direction, so they may not stay as straight as if you did it on, say, a pipe.
And would you see, I guess what would be the, everyone runs different levels of production, but I suppose once you start seeing more than a 1/2 thousandths of taper, because normally we're getting 2 or 3 tags.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you're getting a 1/2 thousandths or more, it's probably take these out and mic them.
And mic them and see how straight you are. And then it's probably your
to correct that, you would need to go back to a truing sleeve. Correct?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, so that's the programming. So the next step, I assume, is bore location.
Bore locations, just like on your regular. The only difference is we have 8 locations instead of 4 on a V8 block, and so we're just going to go through and we're going to eyeball where these other holes are real quick.
Okay. Well, and if you knew the blueprint spacing,
you absolutely can punch those in as well.
Type that in here now. On this we are on an AXY, which we have the manual rollover fixture.
We do
for the demonstration, because that's what most people would have. Obviously, we have left and right locations with the V-Block software, and if we were on an automatic rollover, it would roll and Y would move bank to bank.
Exactly.
But I think with this fixture, slightly less automation, right? To do this other bank, we're flipping the block over.
Exactly.
So something to keep in mind, folks, is you're going to do this one side, and you can program a left and a right location bank, but the reality is you're going to flip the block, and really once you've set up left locations, you can just rerun that.
Exactly.
On the other side, right?
When you flip the block, because you're probably not going to be able to put it back in the exact same location anyways, you're going to end up re-zeroing your X, and as soon as you re-zeroed your X, everything's going to be the same.
I got you.
And so, just like Ryan said, we absolutely, so to do the first bank, you can do this. Technically, you can have your right bank set up as well, but in order to actually achieve the right bank, because this cool hole setup is only for that bank, we will have to pull this block out and turn it around.
Okay. So I guess I can just hand wheel over here.
Yep.
I'll just move down the line here, get a couple of these.
And once you like it, just hit set and it's going to lock.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're just setting this way, standard Rottler, just like with the F10XS or any of the
other Rottler machines.
You can come in here and hit your test. And then obviously, of course, you've got the classic turn a hole on, turn a hole off.
Exactly like our other programs do.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll get these programmed up, and then I think bring the camera in so people can see the action.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we've got our hole locations programmed 1 through 8, right? And now we're going to hop into our actual operation. So I need to go and zero out the stone diameters here, correct?
All our zeros are found out. Now we just need to tell the machine where to start.
So I'm, again, manually jogging this down. And we're just going to get this back to its start location in the hole.
Yep.
Or approximately.
Yep, that'll work.
And then I just want to bring the stones out to make it close, right?
Yep.
hold it down.
Yeah,
there.
that'll
That's
work.
pretty good. Okay.
And then feed stones.
Feed stones to diameter, just like anything else.
Yep. Okay. Go ahead and zero that.
And zero the stone diameter. And we want to take, well, let's just take 1/1000 out.
All right.
Right?
We're ready.
Hole to hole is on, and when I press cycle start, this should just get going, right?
Yep. It's going to come up, and then it's going to come down and pause at the centering height, that 1/4 inch above the hole we set.
So yeah, this is the safety feature of this, right? And this stops at my centering height. And now there's, on the screen here, we've automatically, it's switched over to give you control of the hand wheel. And this is for you to guide down. And then there's an option to cancel, as well as it's telling me I need to move the Z below the centering height. So I can just make sure this goes in. And then once I get, so right here, once I get below my centering height, it automatically turns into a continue button.
Yep.
Right? And when I do that, it begins to actually run the operation.
And right about there. Come up.
Up to the clearance height and over.
Exactly.
And now I've got control again. Guide her in. Tells me when to press continue.
Concludes it.
So it at the end moves back to hole one, and that's the end of the auto cycle. All right, folks. Well, that was a pretty good experience for me, at least. Pretty cool piece of technology. Hopefully you find this interesting, exciting. Hopefully you find it as something that could be used in your shop to automate lifter honing and lifter finishing in general. A couple of things to keep in mind with this, using those full-length stones like we talked about earlier. Check the taper. And you had another point that with standard cylinder honing, typically we're
going to grow that hole till it reaches the diameter, and a lot of times you're used to just stacking tolerances on top of tolerances. So
that's your stock removal.
For your
right?
stock removal, you'll end up having, say, maybe you did a 10 over and you ended up having 11,000 in your total stock removal box. Well, when we're using the Mandrel drive, it likes to be re-zeroed. It doesn't like us to stack tolerances on top of tolerances. So for the best results, try to keep it within 2,000 to 3,000 stock removal at a time, and then re-zero if you need.
So really, the way to run this, just like what we just did in the semi-automated, where as the operator, it's obviously very fast. We just jog it down. But if I would take this and I go and measure it and check with my dial bore gauge, instead of saying, okay, well, instead of we did 1 or 2, let's now just add a thou to my stock removal. The best way to run this is to go back to my first hole, and whatever I'm missing on my dial bore gauge, re-zero, and then type that number in and
exactly
kind of treat it that way.
Yep.
So
yep.
That's it, folks. Like I say, this is our lifter honing Mandrel adapter kit. The 2 versions as we talked about. Links will be in the description. I'm Ryan. This is Scott. If you have any questions, comments, want to know more, reach out to either myself at Ryan@RottlerMFG.com or Scott and that's Scott@RottlerMFG.com. As always, happy machining, and we'll catch you next time.
Thank you.